Hi, this is Edna coming to you from Phoenix, Arizona again, and we are going to continue with the process of getting F1 visa. So this is for F1 student visa. Well, if the last video was helpful to you, make sure you hit a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel so you can get more information on how to obtain visas to come to the US. And if you think this video is going to help somebody, please send this video to them, and so that you can be notified when we make another video. So let's go on and start talking about how to obtain visa, a student visa to come to the US. And this is the F1 student visa. First of all, you will need your I-20. To apply for the visa, you need to pay about $350 US, which is you go into the service payment portal, service, SEVIS, payment portal, and there you'll pay the $350. Make sure you print a receipt. It's called a service I-902 service fee receipt, because you will need that receipt to take it to the embassy. Make sure you apply for that, and then you'll go to apply for the DS-160 visa application, and in this portal you'll pay $160. It's called application portal for DS-160 visa application. And once you have applied and paid for the money, it will print you a receipt with a barcode. You will need that to take it to the embassy. Make sure you have those two receipts, one for the I-901 receipt and the DS-160 visa application receipt. You will need those two things when you're going to apply for your visa. So make sure you print that out. Go to a place where you apply and you're able to print it out. If you can print it out there, send it to your email and then print it later. But make sure you have a record of it. All right, now you have your I-20, valid I-20. Make sure your I-20 shows the date in advance, because some people will get an admission for an I-20 and it's dated August 2nd, and you're applying for the visa to go there in end of August. It's after the admission date of your I-20. Make sure your I-20 is valid. Make sure when you're applying for the visa, it's before the start of your I-20. So keep that in mind. If your I-20 has expired, you can always request the school to send you an I-20, because sometimes the process takes so long and you end up having an I-20 that is already kind of expired or it started. Let's say you get an I-20 for August 1st and it's already the end of August and you have not applied for your visa yet. You can request the school to send you a new I-20. You might have to wait a semester to continue the application process, but you need to have a valid I-20. You also need to have a valid passport. For you to get a visa, you have to have a valid passport. So make sure when you're applying for school, for the I-20, you're also applying for your passport, because sometimes it takes a while for the passport to come back. So I always say make sure that is one of the first things you're doing is applying for your passport, because you need a valid passport. Make sure you have a travel itinerary, your plans to travel. That is important because they will need that in the embassy. Make sure you carry 2 forms of IDs, identifications. That is passport size pictures they're going to use for your visa. They will require that in the embassy, so keep that in mind. Once you have gotten all the documents, you need to schedule an interview, a visa interview. This is for the F1 student. Make sure you schedule an interview visa in the nearest US embassy. During the interview, you'll meet somebody that will ask you a bunch of questions, and some of the things they're looking at is looking at your I-20, your study legitimacy. Are you going to study something that's going to be beneficial, that is, really marketable out there? You don't want to apply for courses that somebody's going to wonder why you're going to the US to study for those when you can study for those in the local country. Are you a serious student? You need to produce your high school transcripts, your KCSE results, your KCSE certificate. You need to have a proof of funds, meaning you have to have a good bank statement, a good size bank statement. It's going to vary depending on the the fees for your school. Some schools require 1 million, some will require, depending on how much it's going to cost for you to go to school there. They want to see a bank statement that has that amount, so that in their mind they're not thinking you're coming to the US and coming to financially depend on them or struggle as an international student, because we've had a lot of international students come in and they come and really struggle financially. They can't support themselves. So the embassy just wants to know that you have money in the account, and it cannot be a corporate account. Make sure it's a personal account with a good amount of money in the account in the bank statement. All right, once you've had a good bank statement, make sure you have or show proof that you're planning to return to your country. They might just ask you questions like, what do you plan to do after you graduate? Make sure your answers include you going back to your home country to work there, to be, give back to the country. Don't say you're going to the US to study and then stay in the US. They don't like that at all. So make sure your plans is to return to your home country so that you can benefit your home country. You're just going there as a student and coming back into your home country, because that is usually some of the questions that really make people fail or not get visas. So keep that in mind. So you've gotten all your documents ready. You give it to the counselor or the person that is interviewing you. They will look at your transcripts. They'll look at copies of your passports. They'll look at your photographs to make sure you have. They need a photograph to put in your visa. So you need to have an appropriate photograph for that. Make sure you look at the visa requirements and see what type of passport size photograph you need for that. The specific requirements, you make sure you have a printed out DS-60 receipt. You have a printed out I-901 receipt. It's a service payment receipt that you filled out and went to the website, filled it out and printed it out. They cannot take it electronically. You have to have a paper copy printed out form of that. Valid I-20. Your school transcripts. Make sure you have your high school transcripts and your school certificates, a diploma if you have a diploma, and you need to use that to apply. Maybe you're applying for your master's program and they require you to have a bachelor's certificate or a bachelor's degree. That any diploma that shows that, you need to take that to the embassy. And then of course a bank statement, and for some school they will require English proficiency, so you will need to have a TOEFL exam done and a receipt printed out or results printed out that you've passed that exam. After you've done that, it's going to depend on the interviewer and how many visas they're giving that. It's not a guarantee you're going to get a visa, but at least you've done your part as a student to process your F1 visa. Once you have given out all the documents, you've gone through the immigration interview for the visa, then they will determine your eligibility to get a visa. Until then, it's out of your hands. You just have to pray and hope that you have done the best you can and they're able to issue you a visa. And then your next step is going to be purchasing an air ticket. Make sure when you're purchasing an air ticket, though, to come as a student, this is one mistake people do, make sure you have a return ticket. If you make a one-way ticket, some airline, when you go to the embassy, when you go to the your flight when you're departing, they will require you to purchase another a return ticket. So just keep that in mind. Until then, hopefully this video was helpful to you or helpful to a family member. Make sure you send it to them. Make sure you send to your friends, and make sure you also give me a thumbs up if this video was helpful. Subscribe to my channel so you can learn a few things about immigration, a few things about health. We talk about a lot of health issues in this channel as well, and then just generally living a happy life. And we'll sometimes discuss about financial issues as well. So we're very open. We talk about many issues that builds us as humans. So until then, I will leave this video here and I will see you in the next video.